Plenty to get through with my next guest. So let's jump straight into it. Former Prime Minister Tony Abbott joins me from Melbourne. I'm going to get to a whole lot of other issues in a moment, Tony, but your new book, it's been out for over a week now. I know you're at an event now for the Institute of Public Affairs. How's the book been going?
Well, Peter, I probably should say that it's not a book about me, it's a book about us. And while I'm the author, the subject matter is our country and our history. And I'm pleased to say that the first print run appears to have pretty much sold out. You can keep ordering it on Amazon or in Booktopia. And my understanding is that 35,000 further copies have now been ordered and they'll be in the shops very shortly.
So that tells me, and I look at the numbers on your doco here on Sky News, and I know people can watch that online, that tells me or gives me hope, Tony, that people love our country more than those who hate our country.
I think you're right. Sure, our history is not perfect, but there's far more to be proud of than to be ashamed of. And what I hope this book will do is help to inspire Australians to build on our strengths, because if we build on our strengths, we'll certainly have a better future.
I want to go to that story, front page of The Australian, about the fact that the defence budget has basically been gutted. All these sort of commitments from the government are smoke and mirrors. Everything is being ripped apart now, cannibalised really, to pay for submarines we're not going to get for a decade. I want to get your reaction on that news today.
Well, Peter, it's shocking because these are the most dangerous times since the late 1930s, as even the Labor government tells us. It's precisely because these times are so dangerous that we need to be better armed now. We need to be better prepared now, because if conflict breaks out and storms can come at us at any time, we participate with what we've got now, not with what we might like or have coming in 5 or 10 years' time. So I really think that as a matter of extreme urgency, we need to up our defence budget to at least 3% of GDP, and we need to look at what we need and can get now to make our country more defensible and to help our allies, particularly the United States, in the world's trouble spots.
One of the things that was there in the article today in the Australian was the fact that the frigates that we're getting, the Hunter class, that they're 4 times more expensive when we buy them as opposed to when the Americans build them. And hear me out, I had this thought earlier on in the program, I want to put it to you. The problem is our defence ministers are there for 2 or 3 years, if that. A new minister comes along and then there's a new minister. The department that do these long-term builds, it's there in perpetuity. The bureaucrats of defence run the show. And of course, you've got all of these people and all these hangers-on when they leave the Defence Department, they go and work for industry. There's a whole lobbying industry out there that basically is there to make money off the taxpayer. And I think you need better oversight. Why wouldn't we think about doing something radically different in Australia? Set up a committee of former Prime Ministers and former Defence Ministers, so no one with political skin in the game, only from Labor and only from Liberal, the 2 big parties of government, to run the ruler over this spending, not make decisions, leave that to the government of the day, basically keep the bastards honest, keep the pressure on all of these bureaucrats not to rip off the taxpayer and to actually get done what governments announce. Would you do it?
Well, that's a good point. It's a good point, Peter. And essentially, defence procurement has been run by a complacent insiders club that simply doesn't do urgency. What I think senior ministers need to be doing right now is sitting down with the senior military chiefs and saying, if a conflict were to break out in the Taiwan Strait, for instance, in 6 months' time, what would that mean for us? What must we be able to do to meet the conflict, to meet the challenge, and what does that mean we have to do today, tomorrow, next week, next month to be ready? Because it's all very well fretting about temperature rise in a few decades' time, but a major war could pose an extraordinary threat to our well-being in a way that frankly makes the whole climate thing look pretty inconsequential.
Showdown next week in the Coalition party room. Obviously it's all about net zero. They don't have a luxury now to debate this for another year, as Susan Lee initially thought they would. The possible departure of Barnaby Joyce, we know he's not running for New England, but the departure out of the National Party potentially to One Nation, I think is making this very, very urgent. If you could give your colleagues advice, if you could stand there in the party room again and say to them, this is how I think we should deal with net zero, what would you say?
Well, I'd be saying we should never put reducing emissions ahead of national security and economic prosperity. Frankly, reducing emissions is nice to do, but the net zero straitjacket is doing all sorts of damage to our country, and we've just got to get away from it. Now, let's be blunt, Peter. There is no climate crisis, and to the extent that climate is changing, we shouldn't assume that mankind is the main factor in it. It's time for some blunt talk with the Australian people, and my side of politics shouldn't be so scared of teal voters that it refuses to level with the Australian people and give the Australian people a clear alternative path forward.
Yeah, just quickly though, they've already knocked back the 2035 commitments. This is the Coalition, but there's talk that they're going to keep open as an aspiration 2050. Now, in my view, that makes them half pregnant. What do you think?
Well, the difficulty with keeping an aspiration is that they will constantly be asked how they are going to meet that aspiration. They will constantly be asked about the targets that they might set in government. And I think we've just got to get right away from that, because the whole emissions fixation is in the process of destroying our energy affordability and our energy security. It's soon going to start destroying our agricultural exports and changing the way Australians live on a daily basis. And frankly, it's become self-harm, and it's time to stop it.